European Central Bank cutting the deposit rate further into negative territory. It is also cutting the refi rate to zero. Mendon Capital Advisors President Anton Schutz joining the conversation right now. We've got these headlines coming out right now from the ECB. Anton, you were expecting much of this.
Sure. I mean, this was a very expected trade that they were going to continue to do this. I think the real question is how that impacts the banking system over there and how they're dealing with negative rates. I mean, they really can't pass that on.
What about that? Because we saw the reaction when the Bank of Japan took rates into negative territory. Now the deposit rate goes further into negative territory in Europe. Are we going to see a similar sell-off reaction, you think?
I mean, I think we're in a spiral that's very dangerous, so I'd really not like to see this continue to happen. I don't see a risk of it right now in the U.S., but everybody's talking about it. And I think banks in the U.S. are going to start using floors to make sure that they don't have a negative rate scenario happen to them. But I think this economy is not in need of that kind of stimulus.
Meanwhile, look at this reaction. Michael Block, markets are rallying right here. You got the European indices and the futures indicating much better openings. The Dow Industrial is expected to open up 120 points on this ECB news.
Mario saves the day. All right, we get to pay governments to borrow money. This is awesome. Wow, this is more of this. I will say this is getting a reaction. Let's give it some room. Let's give it some respect. But I don't know what people are looking for. You know, what is this going to accomplish at this point? This is bad for, you know, Anton, you're a specialist in financials. Yeah. This is not good for insurance companies or asset managers that have to run money and make returns. How do you make money when you're lending, when you're letting Belgium borrow money from you and you're paying them 40 basis points to do that? Belgium.
It's going to hurt the banks, Anton?
Well, you know, I think it's eventually dangerous for savers. And it's not happy for the bank system because, I mean, the banks should be making a lot more money for the risk they're taking. Yeah. Whether it's construction lending or mortgage lending. People have always talked about even mortgage rates being too low in this country, banks not getting appropriately paid. That's why Fannie and Freddie are the buyers of all of it.
So how does that play out into stocks and what you're thinking about and what you're looking at across financials here?
Well, the yield curve isn't helping. So banks that are really not strong performers are going to have to seek stronger partners. I mean, the last 2 years we've seen 5% of the banking industry sell. I actually expect that to be a higher number this year.
More consolidation?
Something greater than 5% of the industry.
But where in the tier of market capitalizations are you talking about?
Well, what's really interesting is the RBC had a conference for banks the last couple of days, and Rajan Cohen was there, and he talked about the fact that we're actually going to see bigger deals. And I agree with that. I think we've seen some bigger deals earlier this year. We saw Huntington buy First Merit. Late in the year, we saw KeyCorp by First Niagara.
Yeah, you're not talking about the super banks like the JP Morgans of the
top
world.
Five,
they're too big.
They're done. I mean, American Express getting bought, no, that's not happening. Maybe breaking into pieces. But yeah, mid caps, absolutely.
But you just said something interesting, maybe break into pieces. Do you see that happening?
It will happen over time, even if they're not forced to directly, indirectly.
They'll sell
I mean, they're carrying too much capital. I mean, they can't make adequate returns on that excess capital at the top. So, you know, will they spin off mortgage or credit card or asset management or even break into different, super regionals if that's possible?
What's your favorite bank right now? Favorite stock?
Well, I'll talk locally. I like New York Community here. I like that deal with Astoria. I think there's a lot of really good things, baked into this. I think they'll get early approval. That's what I'm looking for. Looking for much greater book value. Astoria has all these great branches that are worth a lot of money. So I think this is a good transaction and a nice dividend yield.
And you, just to be clear, ECB making these moves that you expected. Markets rallying right now. I know you're a seller into it.
Yeah, so we're giving us some room here. The thing that we haven't touched upon here that's hitting the tape right now is ECB will be buying corporate bonds. They will be buying corporate bonds here. More details at 8:30 when Draghi speaks.
Real quick reaction.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, there's more risk on here. Everybody front ran it and bought all these bonds out there, and they're getting rewarded for it.
So. That's what's happening right now. Markets